Looks like I'm back on the live momentum, and it's so wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a bit of a grayer day here. Um, Happy April 1st to those of you who are in that part of the world. We had our April 1st yesterday, and seems to be a pretty relevant topic in the esoteric community, obviously because of the day of the fall. And yeah, I'm not going to go and talk about you know all that stuff. I will just give a quick reference point as soon as it pops up. Um, oh, oh, that's strange. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You guys doing well? How's your day going? Have you found the thing you were looking for? Are you content with what you have? Is there a fleeting sort of visit from time to time of a topic or an idea that sometimes gets you all excited, and then all of a sudden it just kind of disappears for whatever reason? Maybe you were curious about something that you saw, something that you tasted, smelt, touch, or something of that nature, and then you decided that it was something you wanted to follow, and then the interest died. It just vanished. You were hot on a topic, you were like, man, this is the thing, and then all of a sudden it's gone, fleeting, just didn't have any staying power for whatever reason. Or there's a bunch of reasons why that's going to happen. Let's just talk about this a bit, because there's a lot of good ideas that are going to come up in your life, and following through with them, uh, you know beyond that initial sort of surge of interest is really kind of what I'm getting at here, because you'll notice the title of the top conversation is, take your mind back. And I was going to say take your mind and your heart back, but let's start with the mind. You know, there's there's so much distraction in the modern day, and sometimes you're going to feel like you're spinning your wheels. You're jumping from, your attention is moving from one thing to the next, and there's going to be uh, curiosities that stick a bit longer, and then there's going to be curiosities and these surges of interest that just fall away over time. This amount of time, this amount of time, whatever you want. And, you know, being able to sort of like seize those interests and go, right, this thing here, man, this is cool. What is it about? Is it a temporary interest? Is it something that's helping an existing interest? Is it a whole new exploration pathway? And, you know, uh, one of the reasons why I put the topic title as "Take Your Mind Back" is because there's so much distraction in the form of media, and this is going to, uh, uh, in some cases, it's going to derail your interest, because you've got all of this flood of information, from multiple angles coming in, not just media. And media is a fairly wide term. That could include everything from social media, scrolling, watching YouTube videos, reading, listening to things, uh, things passing by when you're walking down the road. These things are all going to be like, ooh, that's fun, that's interesting, that's curious. And then, where your mind was, now it's occupied with something else. And uh, some things, some of those interests that grab your attention will survive those sorts of detours and divergences and digressions. Cheers, everyone. Morning coffee here in New Zealand. I think it's, what is it? It's around about, yeah, it's about 8:30. We're just getting started here. Like I said, it's a bit grayer, but it's a nice day. It's always a good day, isn't it? Blessings to all. So, what do? You've got this thing that you're curious with, and you want to maintain your curiosity. You want to feed and nurture it, and you want it to be consistently present because you like this thing. And you may know something about yourself that you are easily distracted from certain things. And you're like, oh man, I have this, you recognize something about yourself. You say, look, I'm aware I have this sort of strange tendency to dive into a topic of interest. Could be anything. And then all of a sudden, you'll be just ripped out of it. And then you'll be like, where did that interest go? Well, maybe it was just there to serve in that moment. It was there to sort of cater to a gap. You were aware that you were into something, and then it was gone. But sometimes it's not that thing. Sometimes it's something that's part of that thing. And I hope I'm not sounding too abstract here. But what I'm getting at here is that when you're on the the initiation pathway, the return path, if you will, we're taking the fool's journey back up the tree. One of the first areas of attention is truly becoming the landlord of your cognitive real estate, because the causation chain, it goes this way, mind, feelings, actions, or thoughts, feelings, actions, and this kicks off the thought process. The information will kick off an emotional response and then a physical response, and we have this reticulation going on. And as magicians and Hermetic practices, or however you want to frame it, we're seeking to become the masters of our inner planes. To become aware of our internal environment, and become the craftsman of our being. And so one way we do this, or one of the approaches, is mental training, where we learn to just watch stuff without engaging it. There's that old classic sort of analogy from, this analogy from Eckhart Tolle, which is, you're sitting on a park bench, and a man walking a dog walks, you're just watching the dog and the man walk past. You're not reaching out to say hi and pat the dog, you're just letting it pass, and that's like a thought. You're just letting these I guess what you might call actors or elements of the mind that produce things, just let them pass by. Why do we do that? Well, because we're wanting to create separation between us and the thing. We're training our mind to not, engage every little thing, and we've got to set some clear boundaries to start with. So we're essentially we're sitting at the desktop, which is our mental space, and we're just watching. And this, you'll feel, when you do this exercise, you're just sitting there. You're just watching your thoughts. Eyes open, eyes closed. Probably eyes open. Closed is easier to start with. You're comfy. You don't have to sit in a certain posture or anything. You're just sitting there and you're just watching. And you're just going, this is what's happening. And you're just paying attention. That's all you're doing. And this creates, an underlying understanding that you are not your thoughts. These thoughts are just the product of the mental environment. They're arising, based on something you watched, something from your personal history. It could be something somebody said to you, a rumination, a musing. These things are just going to pop up for whatever. Wherever you put your mind or your attention, it's gonna the mind substance will feed that. They'll be like, oh, is that what you want? Is it? Okay, well, here's some more of that thing. And so we want to take back that function, that activity, that task, and make it our own, so that we can use it to serve us, rather than be the servant of it, or be mastered by it. Thoughts are just bubbling up and arising. 40 to 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, whatever the latest number is that humans experience. This is crucial, because without this, you're going to be occupied by other things rather than the focus point. And this could be anything to do with running your business, a relationship item, something that you really want to do, a new skill that you want to learn. Maybe you want to be a magician, maybe you want to be a Hermetic practicer, maybe you want to be a healer, maybe you want to be a this, or that, or the other thing. And so, being able to focus in and not be distracted, right, starts with just being able to, not be habitually engaged with whatever is presented to you. Okay, and then following from that exercise, we have this exercise where we just pick an item within the internal real estate of the mind, and we hold it there. So we're not bringing in something external. And hey, look, if you're reading Franz Bardon's Initiation into Hermetics and you're going through this process, there is, he says quite clearly that, you choose a thought and you hold it. You're still laying in the chair. You're not doing a posture as such. You're just relaxing and just watching what's passing, and then you stop one of those things. So you are intelligently engaging the process, but in a very selective way. You're going, okay, there's all this stuff going around that I'm just able to now pay attention to because I've completed the first exercise. It's cool. All right, this is all the stuff that's going on. You zoom out. You pinch zoom out, right? Sorry, you zoom out. That's right. You pinch, you squish to zoom out. And it's like, wow, there's all these thoughts, and they're all competing for your attention in some ways too. They're all like, the mind's just like, oh, you want some more of this stuff? Here we go. Pop, 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 pop. It's like, wow, look at all this stuff, and you like go, oh, that one, or that one, or that one, or that one, or that. And then you're just like, whoa, wait a minute. That's right. I'm just pulling back. I'm pulling back, and I'm just watching what's going on. Interesting. Right, I'm going to pick that one. Zip, next exercise. All right, okay, there's a bicycle. Why is there a bicycle? Well, it could be because I need to go for a ride, or I need to fix my bike, or I feel guilty that I haven't been for a ride on my bike, or this, or that, or the other. You see that? See what happened there? I engaged with it, or we engaged with it, and it just went on. I'm going to pull back. Oh, all it is an internal, item that has the appearance of a bicycle. And you just hold that there. Just hold that single thing there. How does this benefit you? Well, like I said, you're learning to, explore the functionality and the abilities of the mental body, of the spirit, with existing resources and information. So you're not like, in the next step, you choose an external item to, to recreate in your mind's eye. In this part, we are letting an item come. I'm going to stare at that one. I'm going to rest my gaze, my internal gaze on this item. Because I want to get good at being able to pay attention. Because the more I pay attention to something, the less I'm going to be distracted and be knocked off my ability to, maintain my focus and discover new value and details in that item that I'm paying attention to. And so you're holding this image or this thought, and you set the timer and you journal the result, and then then you're moving on to the next exercise. And the next exercise is vacancy of mind. And in vacancy of mind, you take that thought at the exclusion of everything else, because that's what's happened when you're focusing on something. Everything else, starts to sort of just like move away. You're learning how to create space and almost push things away with your mind. The mental objects are becoming, the process is becoming tamed. You're training the mind to operate in a certain way. I want this thing. That's the focus part. The second exercise, everything else starts to diminish. You just learn how to push things away on this. You're focused on this one thing. Then the next exercise, number 3, is that you then banish that item you were focusing on, and you are now just resting your mind in an empty environment. And when something comes up, you just push it away. By being able to zero in, like laser single point your mind on an object in the second exercise, to the exclusion of all other things, you'll find there'll be a capability and a capacity to push other things out of the way. Out of necessity, because you're learning to maintain focus on one thing. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons why that skill, because these are skills that we learn. And the more we practice them, the more they become part of our default makeup, part of our way of being. So it becomes easier for us to do these things. They're not such a conscious sort of activity where we have to apply as much energy. We're sort of baking these skills in. It's like autopilot when you're getting out of the car. You do this little dance where you take the seatbelt off and put the handbrake on, and pull the keys out and open the door. You don't think about it, you just do it. And it's something that you've just done a whole bunch of repetition on, and it becomes part of who you are. It's one of your chosen patterns. That's what we're aiming for here. We're installing new patterns, but we've got to learn how to sort of clear out old patterns too. And so we're starting with the mind, because the mind is the pilot, and we want that pilot to be able to just sit and watch, to be able to pick an item to focus on, and then to be able to clear the environment. Those are the 3 skills. And then to be able to sit in that nice, clean, clear environment and just be happy and content in that. And and to be able to maintain that, you'll find that these mental muscles will become strong, and you'll be able to lift heavier and heavier weights, whether it's by going into a noisy or busy environment and being able to maintain tranquility and disturbance, or perhaps it's the amount of time that you can maintain one of these states that result from the skill. Every time you don't have to like add another 10 minutes on your gym trip. That's a slightly different concept, but being able to hold a state because as you hold it, like I said, more detail reveals itself, and you know, things unfold and flower and unravel essentially. So that gives you, you know, more awareness of granularity, of, you know, new specificity that wasn't previously available. So the more that you're sort of focusing on the second exercise or second skill, you're able to hold that and bore into that and discover new things and go, wow, this is really valuable to have this. This is crucial, guys. You know, discovering value, because if you do something for a bunch and you're not getting anything out of it, you know, how do you know whether you're getting good return on investment? How do you know that this is worthwhile? You've got to have a little bit of like, okay, heaps of people are recommending this thing, I'm going to give it a good go. You know, you don't give up on playing guitar just because you can't, you know, get the chord down on the first day. Well, my fingers ain't doing it proper, can't do it, can't strum proper, I must not be made for this. Look, skills take, you know, you're adapting yourself to a new way of being, and I think one of the beauties about, you know, talking about music as an analogy for learning, you know, mental training, or any type of training, really, any type of skill development, is that, you know, when I was teaching music, the kids would come in, they would have this alien object like a guitar in their arms, and they would all be all stiff, like, you know, they wouldn't know how to relax with it because it was this new thing, you know. They were like, oh, look at this thing, you know, like maybe there's all this expectation from the teacher or something like this. But the reality is that once they learned how to, once they'd spent some time with it, they found it became easier to do this thing. You know, part of my job as a teacher was to create an environment that was conducive to the high, you know, the best outcomes that, you know, that environment, the constraints and circumstances of that environment would allow. I mean, sometimes I was teaching in a dental clinic, you know, and there wasn't enough room to have 4 students in there, you know, 4 kids. You know, there was one in the door facing towards me, and then there was 2 in front of me, and then there was one kind of, you know, we had to make do with the space we had. And then in another room, we would have, you know, a big room, and so I could have them all sort of in a sort of a semicircle type form, or a hemisphere, semicircle type scenario. But we're aiming for success here, you know, because there's so many wonderful fruits to be harvested. You know, even if you just want peace in your life, you know, managing your internal mental landscape, you know, this will bring you so much peace. It doesn't mean you're not going to get knocked off your guard, or, you know, knocked off your equilibrium from time to time. You're going to constantly be presented with challenges that are going to test your ability to maintain that state, and welcome them. Go, oh, new big heavier weights to lift. And they come in different shapes, sizes, sounds, flavors, all this type of thing. You know, you're going to walk into an environment and there's going to be a really challenging smell. Okay, and that's going to prompt things too. Now that's not so much mental training, but, you know, you're going to learn how to, you know, find your limitations of tolerance. And, you know, some thoughts you're going to have are going to be highly challenging. But you've got to remember, you know, some thoughts, they pass in front of you. Oh, that's easy. I can just, like, create the space just by looking at it, and just sort of moves away. It's right here to start with. Oh my gosh, this thing is so important and urgent, and I need to stress out about it. And it's just like you keep paying attention to it, and then it slowly dissolves the intensity and the thing, and it just becomes it's actually just a thing that's here. I don't need to get upset or stressed about it, right? And this goes for anything, but, you know, some things are going to have more charge to them than others. And that's why this mental training is so important, because it changes our relationship to, you know, what our internal environment produces, so that we go, oh, these are not my thoughts. These are just things that are popping up, whatever's stimulating them. Yes, it could be because of something that, you know, you experienced previously. Doesn't mean, you know, that, you know, that thought that pops up is you know, it's something that, I'm trying to find the right way to put this. you know, it's this environment is something that you can change. You can change the way that this machine functions, and that is what we're aiming to do here. We want to fill in the blank. I want to fill in the blank. I want control of my mind. I don't want other things influencing my mind and controlling me and making me do things like I'm a kind of a puppet, like, you know, like I mean, I've talked about this in some previous videos about influence. You know, there are, you know, the persuasion is part of sales and marketing, you know, well, probably more sales, but, you know, part of the persuasion mechanism, and this is not an evil thing or anything, I'm just talking about persuasion in general, you know, whatever we apply to it. But there are lots of factions out there, advertisements, you know, influencers, just whatever, wanting your attention. There is literally like a great big arena of competition to get your attention. There's a, you know, and so if you want to, you know, make your own choices, you know, you've got to guard the gates. And that is why we do this training, because we're just like going, okay, I'm the master here. I'm not the one being mastered. You know, I'm not outsourcing my determination and discernment to an external source. I'm the master here. Look, seriously, no, I'm not interested. No, it's like that. And you can do this with your mind. You know, like I think that's the this is one of the ways of you know, of convincing yourself this is valuable, is you got to do it, right? But when somebody says to you, hey, look, I've already done this thing for a bit, and man, you know, like, you know, I think that's one of the great things about, you know, the before and after shot, you know, whether it's yourself or someone else. If you see someone who used to be all over the place, frazzled, scattered, and all these types of things, and then they begin some kind of practice, whether they're just following their breath. The breath is so good, right? Or they're just sitting there and just watching their thoughts. And they do this for 10 minutes a day, twice a day. That's all they're doing. They're just doing the first exercise, right? And then after a week, you catch up with them, and they've got this new kind of way. They're like less scattered. They're less unfocused. They're less distracted. And you're able to have a much more, I guess, valuable and interesting and engaging exchange with them. And you go, wow, what did you do? Well, I read this thing, or I watched this thing about this guy or this person, whatever, and they said, if you're having trouble, do this thing twice a day, 5-10 minutes, and should sort you out, and you'll find the value in it, because it's all about perceivable value. Yes, I'm hitting my nose here because I'm perceiving that there's something happening here. I don't think my nose is broken. It might be. But that's it. You know, you've got to be able to discover the value in it. Otherwise, you're just doing a thing that's not really, you know, you're not noticing the benefit of it. And so we start with developing our perceptual muscles by, first of all, you know, if you've got too much on the desk, you know, it's always going to feel like it's overwhelming. Always. You're just going to be like, oh my gosh, there's too much to deal with. So you just learn to look at it, and then you let that, you basically dissolve the charge or discharge the intensity. You know, oh, there's just a bunch of stuff on my desk. All right, what do? Okay, well, I'm just gonna like go. Okay, well, I'm just gonna put it into some piles first. Whatever. Start organizing your internal landscape. But first, the thing that watches and observes needs to be trained, and so that you're not getting distracted, you're able to stay on task and be effective in whatever that you decide to do with your your operation or activity. And this is not just Hermetics. This is just life in general. Like, you know, Hermetics is almost like a blueprint for life in some ways. You know, you're discovering the value of spending time making changes inside. You're watching how your relationship to external items, objects, people, situations changes. And you're like, wow, you know, I used to really not enjoy doing that thing. I kind of have to do it. Now I have a whole outlook on it, and I can sense the value. I can perceive the value. And so that's pretty much it. You start off with simple things, but they're valuable things. And then as you move through the process and discover the new weights, the new heaviness, like, oh my gosh, okay, what are we up to now? Okay, now I need to work on visualization. Oh, them some heavy weights. Them is some heavy weights. Or maybe it's easy. You know, like as a musician, I spend so much time internalizing and learning songs that my ability to imagine or visualize audio, it's very easy for me to do. My ability to create sounds in my spirit is very easy. You know, and that's why I would say to anyone, you know, like, you know, learning an instrument is a very beneficial activity on so many levels. You know, because once you learn a bit of theory and a bit of practical and you're enjoying it, you'll see how it translates over beautifully. You know, and how there's so many parallels. Because at some point you might decide that you want to start sharing this information with other people, and you're going to need some common ground or a common language to share it. Now, I'm not sure, you know, if I started launching into some musical analogies right now, I'm not sure how many of you would get them if I was using certain terminology. So rather than use music-specific language, you know, I'm just using, you know, just bring it to the street the best that I can, because ideally I'd like to reach a larger group of people to share the benefits of, you know, meditation and, you know, even the basics of meditation, you know, even before we go into this higher level stuff, you know, before we start getting into, you know, my gosh, it's a long journey, but it's a beautiful journey, isn't it? You know, those of you who do will know. It's starting to rain, is it? Oh, not yet, maybe. Yeah, but anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. I trust you're all having a beautiful day. I'm Phil Rice. Welcome to the Phil Rice YouTube channel. We're out here in, I'd like to say sunny Howick in Auckland, New Zealand, but unfortunately it's a bit grey today. It's quite nice though. We're in the middle, changing from summer to autumn, and summer's was still here yesterday. It was really hot, and it was hot last night too. But we're having a break from the sun today, and I'm grateful because summers in Auckland are quite challenging. They're very humid. They're not just hot, they're really humid. Like we get 80+% humidity, you know, for, you know, weeks and months. So yeah, but welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. Please head over to philrice.substack.com and you can support my efforts here on YouTube and on Substack. I also write articles on my Substack. And there's an option there where you can support the channel with, you know, with a paid subscription if that's something that, you know, if you go, I like this guy's stuff, I want to help him out. You can do that. Thank you. What else? If you're liking this, hit the like button. Why not? Oh man, I hate putting all this cheesy stuff forward, but I'll just put it out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, if you're liking it too, hit the subscribe button. You know, stay updated for notifications, because I'm doing these lives fairly regularly now. I will get back into the studio and start making some stuff for you guys too. But yeah, I'll open up the chat and see if anyone's put anything in the chat. Chat filter, all messages. Alright, what do we got? Be kind. Hi. I said hi. Hello. Hello. Yes, the chat is now active. Sorry, I found that if I leave the chat on while I'm doing these, that I get distracted because I want to say hi to everyone. So I want to say to Be Kind, hi, hello back, and Bra3, hello. So yeah, uh, but that's pretty much it. Apart from that, if anyone's got any questions, throw them in. Always lovely to hang out with the community and see what's happening out there. It's nice to sit out here actually and have a hot drink on a sort of a cool day, isn't it? Oh, it's nice too. There's not too much construction going on. So yeah. Anyway, so that was just a recap. I do talk a lot about these first exercises in the Hermetic training text of franzbardon. I'm just wanting to, I guess, talk about the value of what they bring. These initial exercises. It's quite possible because that I'm sharing these repetitively because there's people in my life who will very so often, jump on my channel, and I'm just trying to encourage as many people as I can to explore meditation as a consideration, but also have an understanding of what it is, why and how. What is it they're doing? How is it beneficial? How do they do it? Why is it valuable? How is it valuable? Why is it valuable? These are this is intelligent explanation, because if I just tell you to sit there and just let your thoughts drift off, and you know that's nice, but if you can sort of see how there's a long game as well, how it leads on to other things, being able to detail the benefits of meditation is a good skill to have, especially if you have discovered this and are looking to share this with other people. So yeah, but anyway, guys, thank you so much. You have a beautiful, wonderful day. I will see you again very soon. Stay well.